here and listening to you is such a great auditor. Thank you so much. My namesake Wambui, asante sana. So to the other speakers, my sincere apologies. I was supposed to be here earlier, but this week has been that week. I think I've been speaking like 3 or 4 events in a day. And yesterday night, I was coming from an event where I got home at 4 in the morning. So in the morning, I was saying, I will come because I keep my word. Otherwise, it was one of those days that you want to send a long, hearty apology like a gent. So you look amazing. Allow me to speak from my heart so that we don't get bored with a lot of getting into whatever. Let me not project. Let me speak from my heart and build on to what other speakers have spoken about. When you wake up one day and everybody is telling you you need to be successful, you need to be this, you need to do this, you're fighting in a space whereby somebody becomes famous because of just carrying githeri, and then they break the internet. Whereas Gradle, you're trying to fight into a space and getting known when you're doing real stuff. That is the era that we are living in. That everything is a fight. With all the good things that you have been told about getting into business, getting out there and creating real impact and purpose, you're also living in an era where everybody is telling you you need to become an entrepreneur until we ask ourselves, who is going to work for these entrepreneurs? It is also a question to pose. So as a career coach, that was also not introduced, I'm also a career coach. I will give in brevity, because of time, the journey, how to build a business in a place where the legal environment is not friendly, because that is how we found our space. I've been mentioned to be the national chairperson of Kenya National Association of Private Colleges. And yesterday I won an award as the TVET Champion of the Year in Kenya. And that has also won me numerous awards, including earlier in the year, I got a Laureate Award with the United Nations, and a few years ago, a Ambassadorial Code of Honor with the UN. Why? The last decade, we used to have a preference for university education. So everybody wanted a certificate written university so and so. Irrespective of whether there were jobs that existed for that qualification. That is the country that you found immediately, maybe you left high school or when you were getting out into the market. So for us, what did we do? We started a campaign that it is not about university education, it's about skill that is needed in the market. And irrespective of how many qualifications you have, you can still be a professor but be a pauper because you do not have skill that you can sell. Because today people buy people and they buy skills. People buy people and they buy skills. So one of the things that you will need to get known for something, your brand is very important. And do not assume that I'm just as a fresh graduate, I am a young professional. My personal brand doesn't matter because your fellow university classmates are your future potential clients. So how they know you throughout the study will determine whether they will buy from you or not, or they will vote for you when you get out there, because there is something they can remember about you. And your brand is what people can say about you in absentia. In your presence, people can say very nice things. That's a part and culture. And in your eulogy, we always say the very best, isn't it? But in reality, perhaps we have so much to say, and this is why we end up creating pseudo accounts so that we can tell the truth. But you do not need all that because your private life and your public life need to rhyme. And what we did in our sector, we started engaging government, because that time the then administration had upgraded so many technical institutions into universities. So leaving a gap, you could not get a plumber, you could not even get somebody to do a website for you, because we didn't have, nobody thought that just doing web designing is a skill that you can sell and make money out of that. And when we started, it became even a legal battle. So you can get into business and then you end up in courts, because now nobody could understand what we were talking about. And we relentlessly pushed the agenda until government brought the agenda, and the TVET agenda became a government agenda pushed from private sector. We are a unique sector where we wrote a law and took it to government, used this law to govern us. The TVET Act of 2013 was sponsored by private institutions, that is ZTech, today ZTech University, NIBS, and others who were there that time. So you can get in the industry that Lavinia and the other speakers have told you about, but you find it is chaotic. So it will be you to bring the change. We love the Gen Z activism, because that is what will connect the generations, because the Gen Z activism needs to meet the know-it-all of the boomers and also needs to meet the aggression of the Gen X. The passive aggressiveness of the Gen X needs to meet with Gen Z activism and the brilliance of the alphas. And we've all had those moments. As the millennials, we are the people who grew up waiting for the world to end. It never ended. We were all waiting for 2000, that the world will come to an end. And some people even sold their properties. So just like Gen Zs have been saying, is it shorter? During our time it was. And these. And now I hear the alphas are clock it, isn't it? So all these have been evolving, it is the same thing. But you're getting yourselves into a space where you really have to fight for the space. So what skill do you need for the future to survive? The first skill is digital fluency. Digital fluency is a skill that you need. You need to be able to be present, and you have to swear to be present. And Robin mentioned about it. If it is LinkedIn, it is your professional profile. When we get there, we need to know who you are. When you get online, you don't have to abuse people, because internet does not forget. The person you're abusing today might be the MD that you're borrowing business tomorrow, including corporates. The first thing that we need to do is get to know who is this. That's why we no longer carry business cards. If somebody asks you for your contact, you tell them, check out on LinkedIn, let us connect. It is easier that way. So the next skill I was mentioned to be a coach for emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, communication, and interpersonal skills, you need to perfect that. Do not become the person who argues in a WhatsApp group until it looks like it's going to burn. You are dealing with what you value. Sometimes people argue in a WhatsApp group, you've left the group, you've blocked people. Poor emotional intelligence. Because everything that you need is always 2 or 3 people away from you. Those 2 or 3 people, you could be sitting next to them here. 2 or 3 people could be your follower online. 2 or 3 people would be somebody in that WhatsApp group. 2 or 3 people would be a stranger on the streets. So for you to become a walking, somebody that we should all learn from, and may his soul keep resting in peace, His Excellency, the late Prime Minister Raila Odinga. becoming relevant for 4 decades. I think I need you to a question to the person seated next to you. Is it possible to be relevant for 40 years? Is it possible that you will be relevant and 40? I have tried. I've been relevant in the TVET space for 14 years now. So I have 56 years to go. Now, this is what I'm doing. Instead of searching with me, at least I've made it 14 years. He's reminding me I have 26 years of relevance to fight for. That is a good reminder that every day that you wake up in this 21st century, you wake up to fight for relevance. Relevance in your relationship, relevance as a parent, relevance as a sibling, relevance as an associate, relevance as an expert. Of becoming obsolete in this century, it is so high. This is why, and I love what she said when she was introducing me, and it reminded me of many things. It's in celebs not being able to pay their bills, instead of having a million followers. Why? Because you're not able to translate that power into real people and to real value. So you can be a walking brand that is so known, but depressed and dusted in private. So you should always have what we call the 15-minute rule by Ekrah every single day. You get home, spend 15 minutes auditing your day. Spend 15 minutes reading to see what is happening. Spend 15 minutes checking what you're consuming, both online and offline. Spend 15 minutes asking yourself, how am I impacting community? What will I be remembered? Why am I here? That question is very important because it is what will make you know that you're not cut out for it. When I was starting, I said I am a career coach. So it is not everybody who can be an entrepreneur. Some side. Because the people who work best where they are. So if you find that personality that can do well where there are systems, and we have good examples like Joseph, the Colin, or the KEPSA CEO, our CEO Dego, the current CEO for Safaricom, and many others. Waigara, somebody is reminding me, Martin Odur of KCB, Keep their teach, the guy who has been one of the most brilliant CEOs, Igade. The list is endless. There are people who thrive where there are systems, and they are called intrapreneurs. In this era, everybody is telling you become a business person. It is good that you solve such what is my personality? Is it easy for me to thrive at space? Because the people who thrive most in that space are dominants. The dominant personality. Then we have the influence, the influencers. These are people who started their influence even in primary. They could tell people to sijibu yo mwalimu swali. Na mzazi zipeleke school fees. If you're here and you're that person, you're a leader. It is only that nobody knew how to nurture your influence into leadership. You could tell people to siongeleshe fulani, and a whole group sidelines so and I can see somebody smiling and realizing, kumbe hii si kitu baya, it is a personality. Then we have got the steady personality. These are the people who thrive in corporate. They are 67% in the world. the steady personality. These are people who love order. These are people who love systems, love things that are working. Because in the entrepreneurship space, what Lavinia did tell you, it is a chaotic space. So if you love order and doing things as per the plan, at where did we stop yesterday? Please, entrepreneurship is not for you. You can wake up with a 10 to-do list and you do none, and you start something that you thought about on your way to work. And it becomes the thing that is working. At the same time, now we have, those are the personalities. Then you have the complacents. These are people who just love what is going on. They make very good civil servants. Because we also need people in that space. And it is good to what you're cut before you go for read. So that you don't become another statistic of mental health. But you're doing the wrong thing that is draining you, that is breaking your head, and it's cracking your head. Because this is not you can be able to do. If you do not love philanthropy and public appearances and doing things for people, leave politics. Because leadership is another assignment with 100% in gratitude. Nobody will say thank you. After you've done all that. So if you're a personality that loves the hype, the claps, then that is not for you. Then the next skill that you will need is networking. Effective networking. Network is not the people you know. You can pose for photos with 1,000 people, a photo with the president, a photo with the CS, a photo with the MD, a photo with what? We are in the era of attention. We are in an era we call attention economy. So for me to show you I am doing well in life, I have to post a few photos with Daphne and say the convener for the largest summit in East Africa today. People who are not here will believe that because we are looking for likes and attention, but not real value. Your network is the people who know you. So do not have a bunch of contacts that are dormant in your phone. Transactional relationships, transactional friendships. That the only time we talk is when you need something. You're another politician. You know, there are people who live like that in real life. That the only time you hear from them, hey, manze, niko na birthday, niko na bash. Si ukama unisaidie kuorganize. Then that time they are so available. Immediately after that, blue ticks. If we are speaking to you, please get born again after this session. So it is important that you also build your network properly because everything that you need is out from you. You don't need so many people to keep away. Right here, we are seated, there is somebody who is perhaps a relative of a president. So the person can tell you, una bash a familia, unaweza kuja. And the person is here, and perhaps you needed a policy to be passed. The person I tell you, the MD for this and this is my uncle. So, twende birthday ya mtoto wako. In the process, you start showcasing your skills and saying what you can be and how you can solve a problem. And you leave that place. Again, in networking, become a person of value to people, not becoming your value. That is where we miss out. You're not a person of value to other people. It is always looking for people to become value to you. That will make you not be able to build sustainable relationships that can move you from level to the next. Another important skill in networking, when you go somewhere, before the event, wherever you go, make sure you have something to say that is sensible and that is of value. Throughout, if just to thank anyone with something. Yes, I would love to really appreciate our MC. There is something that you say that was of great value to us, and thank everyone who has attended. And I'm here to build good friendships with all of us. Thank you very much. If somebody says who wants to pray, volunteer. The spirit of volunteerism has grown. They are social workers. They are volunteers. They can do something for somebody for many years without wanting anything in return. But somebody will never forget about that. You're always in the mind of people. That is service to others. It is very important. What does that do? It makes you visible. And in today's attention economy, visibility is credibility. That is why we tend to believe people we see often. This is why politicians fight to be on-time news every day. Whether they are saying anything or visibility is credibility in this sector. Make sure you're visible. I'll give you a personal story about visibility. One time I went to a breakfast like this one, not very far, brilliant hours, a few years ago. And after breakfast, it was my first time to go to that event. They just seated, I got in late. Such my habit too. To be late, it is also a personality. Okay? Yeah. When you learn about personalities, you will know that these always walk in late and they transform everything and they carry the personality. But that time, there was a good reason why I walked in late. Then the MC, as well, said, thank you so much. The person who was supposed to pray for us has arrived. I think the person who was in the list was not there. This is my first time. I don't even know who is in the room. I've been told to pray. So by the time I got to the podium, I looked in event gun business people. You know, life is chaotic. You enter somewhere without even knowing what is. So very fast I had known, oh, this event is event so and so. Okay. So then I said, let's pray. May we be upstanding for a word of prayer. Then I did a prayer that somebody would think that is a minister of the gospel. Then I sat. After the event, two people came up to me. One was a pastor. Said, oh, are you a minister? I said, I'm a minister in the marketplace. Never disagree. Okay? Always affirm. It's called affirmation therapy by the psychologists. Affirm yourself, even from compliments. Then the person told me, I would really love you to join us. Fine, I'll join you. So long as there is no cost. Now, Kodani is what I'm telling myself. Then, fast forward, we sat. You know that connection, eh? I didn't know them. We sat. You are guys who enter in an event and within 5 minutes you have left. You're the last one to come in, the first one to miss Bedi Maneno ya watu. In this era, 21st century, my friend, you will tarmac, look for jobs, blame government, blame everybody. But you left your opportunity just where you left 5 minutes ago. At around 11, you see, it was breakfast, so it was 6:30. So we are seated there, story. One of the people around 11 was called, received a call from South Africa, and was asked, could you give us somebody from Kenya who can be a speaker in education, somebody who is senior in education? The person asked me, and was asked, could you give us some? Yes. What do you do in education? Very fast. I'm the Secretary General, this, and this is what we do in the association. We campaign for this. Yes, I have a very good speaker. I have a very good speaker who can speak. Then I thought it's just another conference. And the person gave my name, told me, please give me always have your bio ready, even if it is 2 sentences. Always have a professional photo, a professional portrait in today's attention economy. So I had my PDF photo, haraka haraka nikampatia. Then I was sent an e-flyer that night. One of our keynote speakers in education, a renowned Ekrah Ndungu, Secretary General, will be one of our speakers at the World Congress. Arriving there, then I thought it's just another conference. Who was the chief guest? The current president for Ghana, John Mahama, was the chief guest. Who are the other attendees? Global icons, serious global icons, the founder, EcoBank, the king of Nigeria, the king of Congo. Now, these were the fellow panelists. I'm telling you of a true story, not fiction. Who connected me? A stranger. Somebody who didn't even know my... Actually, after the conference in South Africa is when I was looking for them to buy them coffee to get to know them better. Why? Because everything you need is always 2 or 3 people away from you. And that it is one of the highest events I've ever spoken to. I've spoken in United Nations, many across the world, but that still stands out. How was it gotten? In an event like this one. What does that teach us? The people you meet who are strangers, treat them like angels. That's the power of networking. And eventually, I became the country vice chair for that organization in Kenya. Because you see now, this was our keynote speaker, and of course, I had good content in between my ears. So when I spoke, immediately I finished, I was like, oh, that was great. That was good. Yes. What do you do in Kenya? And the other people from the other countries were ministers. Minister for Education, CG for South Africa. Minister for Education, CG for where? So networking is important. Value people. Devalue the block button. You're a generation that values that button so much. You even block your parents, you block your siblings, you block everybody. You need to work on your emotional intelligence so that you can be able to relate with people. So the skills are so many for the future, but all I can tell you is become a person who is known for something. What are we going to know you for the next 5 years? And I want you to pose that question seriously, looking at the eye of the person seated next to you. Ask them, in the next 5 years, if you're supposed to be on newspaper headlines, what will you be on the newspaper headlines for? What will you be known for? What is that newspaper article? What will it be talking about you? What will you be known for? So when you are able to answer that question, it was not a ticket to discuss the event. It was just to ask that question. What will you be known for? Then start working towards that now in the long term. And because I love my best book, somebody asked me yesterday in an event, which book are you reading? Should I answer that question? Yes. And I told the person I'm reading the Bible. Okay. Good choice. Why? The person was very interested to ask me, why are you reading the Bible? I told the person, I've read so many books, But there is one book that answers all the questions that I have. And I'm reading this book because there is a lot of misinterpretation, so I want to interpret it for myself in a version that I understand. So whatever faith, because another skill that you will need in this 21st century, okay, where you can work anywhere in the world, is spiritual intelligence. Spiritual intelligence. I've been a chief guest in Nepal. You go there, they believe in Buddha. And they have reasons why they believe in, because Buddha was born in Nepal. You go to Middle East, they believe in Muhammad. They are Muslims. You go to China, they believe in money. And anything can become a form of worship. You go to India, they believe in a million gods. Everybody has their own god, and one of the gods is a cow. Okay? Then you go to the US, very fast, universalism is taking over. So you need to ground yourself to believe in something. And if you are raised a Christian, be one who can also defend their faith. And also respect what people believe in, but appeal them to your way of life. There is a way they'll look at you and they're like, I think your faith is better. Tell me more about it. And perhaps along the way, you'll be able to convert many. But do not become the believer, the boomer believer. Mimi mtu haamini ina mimi hatuwezi shirikiana. My friend, in 21st century, your employer might be a universalist. Okay? Your next business partner might be a Muslim. You might find yourself, you are the country manager for a country that is Buddhist. Are you going to say that I will not go for that job? No. So spiritual intelligence is a life skill. This is why you have to develop yourself properly and ground yourself in faith, so that irrespective of whatever multiple interactions you will have, you have a conviction that makes you believe in something. Okay? And the next skill is culture sensitivity. Culture sensitivity. In all those places that you will travel, they have different beliefs. I remember one time I went somewhere in Nepal, I was visiting my host, and when I went, they started picking things. There is something they were picking, they want to put on me, and whatever. You don't have to start jumping up and saying shidre. That is what they believe in, isn't it? Then you just walk out knowing that if you believe in that, is what we call in sociology confirmation bias. You just be confirming a biasness. And they have strong ground of why they believe in that. This is where you go and visit your grandmother and they start telling you there's somebody who looked at you. That is where you got, and you know very well you skipped classes. This is where you did graduate. You know very well you didn't do what you were supposed to do. So it would be important that as we have been taken to school, we also come out like people who have gone to school. Our parents sold cows to take us to school during our time. So inaweza kuwa vibaya sana mzazi auze ng'ombe apeleke ng'ombe ingine shule. Isn't it? Yeah, it will be very bad. So we enhance our reasoning by becoming widely read. There are two books that I can recommend. There are two books that I can recommend for somebody who is trying to build themselves. There is one called The Leader Without a Title. Why? You do not need to wait to become a CEO so that you can do leadership. You need to first start with self-leadership and leading yourself. You're the CEO of your life. So if your life ends in the ditches, if you end up in drugs, it is a CEO who is failing. If you end up becoming a multiple father of 5 kids, who some you do not even know, it is the CEO who is failing. I have your dose, the girl who is shouting about that example. If you end up messing your life with old men, it is the CEO who is failing. That is why the leader without a title is important, so that you can first lead yourself before leading others. Because integrity is who you are when no one is watching you. It is not when we can see you. It is not a lot of scriptures on your status. It is not a lot of beautiful quotes. In your private space, are you the same person? The next book is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. What we are lacking today is effective people. We have so many people, but we are lacking effectiveness. So go become effective in that area that you have thought that will make the newspaper headlines in future. And the faith that you believe in, make sure you read that book like you have an example. For me, my book